Okay, state your name and your level.
My name is Scott Cope. I am the program manager for the Minot District Office, Williston District Office, and Watford City District Office for the Department of Corrections.
Okay, and why are you in this field?
Why am I in this field? I'm in this field because I always wanted to be in law enforcement. I love helping people, and this way I have both aspects of the job. We are licensed peace officers through the state of North Dakota, so we do get to carry firearms every day, and along with that, I still get to help people be successful as well.
What is the most challenging aspect of this job?
I would say helping people that don't want to be helped at certain times. We try to do the best that we can, but unfortunately there are some people that don't want to be helped, and there's only so much we can do, but we try to do what we can to change their frame of mind to where they can make changes and be better people.
How has your past work experience helped shape you for this job?
I have a lot of experience working with juveniles, and then I have a lot of experience as being a manager as well. So both those fields are the reason why I'm where I'm at today, being a manager for 3 districts and then also helping people as well.
State your name and your level.
Dan Strandberg, I'm a PO2.
Okay, why are you in this field?
I guess I've been involved in law enforcement for over 30 years. I'm in this field because I enjoy like helping people. I really get a feeling of accomplishment when somebody turns their life around. That's on my caseload.
Okay. What's the most challenging aspect of this job for you?
You know, the most challenge, probably there are 2 challenges. One is lack of resources that we have. We don't have enough resources to really address all the issues that our clients have. And the other one is just basically our clientele itself, and that they're not the best at keeping appointments and following through on things many times.
Okay. And how has your past work experience helped shape you for this job?
Well, just my background in law enforcement, I found that I really enjoyed helping people and, you know, trying to make maybe just a little bit of difference. It's not like you're going to turn the world around, but if you can make a little bit of difference in a few people's lives, it's an accomplishment.
Okay, state your name and your level.
Heather Howe. I'm a parole officer 3. I am the drug court officer in Minot.
Okay, why are you in this field?
Well, I guess part of what led me to the criminal justice field was my dad's was a U.S. Marshal, and so I've kind of always had that law enforcement background in my life. And my mom was an accountant, so I don't do math. So here I am, and I really enjoy working with people, and I think that that's just a really good fit for me.
Okay, what's the most challenging aspect of your job?
I would say that the most challenging aspect of being a parole officer is, especially with drug court, which I've done for the past 3 years, is that I see my drug court clients quite a bit. And I think that the biggest challenge I've noticed is dealing with people that you grow a relationship with, and you really care about their outcomes and their well-being. And sometimes I think that the biggest challenge for me is taking their failure too personally.
Okay. Have you had past work experience that has helped shape you for this job?
I started this job a month after college, so I don't have much prior work experience in this field. However, my first 5 years were spent in a single person office, so I spent my first 5 years by myself. And I think that that gave me a lot of valuable experience because I had to be very self-sufficient. There was no coworkers, so I had to build a relationship with like the local law enforcement and the community resources. And I think that that really helped me get to where I am right now, and also really helps me with drug court since it's a team setting and I have an entire team that I work with on a regular basis. And I think that that first 5 years on my own and making those relationships has really benefited my drug court team and then obviously my drug court clients.
Okay. Can you state your name
Jordan Thompson.
and then your level?
I'm a probation officer 3 in the Minot probation office.
Okay. Why are you in this field?
I went to college and got my bachelor's degree in criminal justice. I always had an interest in law enforcement. I started out with the Williston Police Department and was there for a couple of years and got closer to home and was hired by the Minot Police Department and then worked there for over 11 years. And I've currently worked with the Department of Corrections for close to 11 years. When I left the police department, I was looking for better pay, better benefits, better hours. At the time I left the PD, I was working 2 different shifts in investigations, and I really enjoyed what I was doing, but I wanted something that was better for my personal life and family life. And did my homework and came over here, and everything I've done in the past or learned being with the police department has really helped with doing this job, because it's kind of the tail end of everything I was always doing in the other 2 jobs.
Okay. What's the most challenging aspect of this job?
I would say the most challenging thing is working and trying with the difficult cases. And there's a section of society we deal with that it's frustrating. You never know who is going to change or who's going to succeed, but there's always that handful that you can never seem to make any progress with, and it can be very frustrating, and we're dealing with them over and over and over. And it can seem like a revolving door, but you just have to tell yourself that's to be expected.
Okay, and you kind of touched on this. Your past work experience shaping you for this job.
Yes, like I said, everybody brings something different to the table. I work with people that may have been at the Human Service Center or the Boys Ranch or another law enforcement agency, but with what I did, I understood the laws. I was very familiar with being in court, the paperwork, the contacts with law enforcement agencies, the state's attorneys, judges, and so on. I feel I had a big advantage coming into this line of work with everything I had known. One thing that I didn't have was case management experience that other jobs could give you when you came here. But the difference with this from what I was used to as far as dealing with the public or clients was with this job, you really get to know people, and you get to know them over time, where there isn't an emergency or they're not getting in trouble. And you really get a chance to help them in whatever way you can, give them good advice, and hopefully play a role in making their life better, and if we're lucky, getting them out of the system when they never come back.
All right, state your name and your level.
My name is Valerie Potter. I'm a case manager for the North Dakota Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, Minot.
Okay, why are you in this field?
I guess the reason I'm in this field is just because I want to try to make a difference in some people's lives. I know that I can't make a difference in everyone's life, but if I can help, at least one person get back on the straight and narrow and try to be a productive citizen in the community, then I think that I'm trying to do a little bit of good in this world.
What's the most challenging aspect of this job?
Sometimes I get frustrated when it feels like I work harder than some of them do when they're on probation. I feel like people that are constantly getting reoffending, getting in trouble again with the law is frustrating to me, because I want them to learn from their first go around that this is not a life that they should be living in. So I try to, help them get better. Unfortunately, sometimes it takes people a little bit longer than others to get their lives back on track.
And how has your past work experience helped shape you for this job?
Well, I started out 20 some years ago in county jail working as a correctional officer, and I could see back then that things were not working in the criminal justice system as far as people getting sentenced to jail time, and basically we were just warehousing criminals in jail. Nobody was helping them as far as after they got back out of jail. Nobody was helping them try to integrate back into society. Nobody was trying to help them with job skills. Nobody was trying to help them get back into a normal way of living. And so I like the fact now that we've got programs that can assist the offenders when they get out of jail and prison to help them reintegrate back into society and make the transition a little bit smoother for them so that they won't go back to their old ways and get back into the criminal justice system again.
State your name and your level.
My name is Kristen Plessis, and I am a sex offender specialist, probation officer 3.
Okay. Why are you in this field?
Actually, my goal has always been to work in the criminal justice field. I always wanted to be a probation officer from high school on, so I like working with people and want to see what I can do to make a change in the world.
What's the most challenging aspect of this job?
I would have to see the changes. We constantly have a lot of changes, ups and downs. It's good to stay with evidence-based practices, but a lot of times changes can be political as well, and keeping up with them is very difficult. It's not the offenders, it's just the way the policies and everything keep changing on us.
How has your past work experience helped shape you for this job?
Well, I went to Minot State University, and upon graduation, I worked at the Dakota Boys Ranch for a short period of time and did my internship with Youth Correctional Center down in Mandan. And from there, I wanted to go back to the Department of Corrections, and so they hired me on at the prison. And so the prison had me working with adult offenders, because at first I thought I want to work with juvenile offenders, but it turns out I actually enjoyed the adult offenders a lot more. So the prison kind of led me into this parole position, and eventually I made it into the parole office instead.
State your name and your level, please.
James Schurmeister, and I'm a PO2.
Okay. Why are you in this field?
I guess kind of the cliche answer is to make a difference. I came from the Minot Police Department. I was there for 5 years, and I saw this as an opportunity to continue further making a difference, so I took the job.
What's the most challenging aspect of this job?
I got to narrow it down to one.
Yes.
That's difficult. I'd say it's going to be a tie, because on one hand you're going to have resources. There's never enough resources. There's always a higher demand than there is beds available or treatment providers available. But on the flip side, it's equally challenging trying to convince individuals who have been maybe living the exact same way for a decade to alter course, to try to inspire motivation and change on someone who's been living the same way for a decade.
How has your past work experience helped shape you for this job?
For me personally, I guess I got my bachelor's degree in psychology, which definitely helped. One of my first real jobs was working with individuals with mental disabilities for 5 years, which definitely rolled into my next career field, working for the Minot Police Department, because you will encounter individuals on the street that have various mental illnesses, and just knowing how to interact and help them was very beneficial. And then the experience I got from the police department definitely rolled into this job, both networking, knowing who to call when you need a resource for treatment or something like that. So I think they've kind of all just rolled over into each other, into where I got to now.
State your name and your level.
Paul Clark, I'm a parole and probation officer too.
Okay, why are you in this field?
Oh, I started out at the Dakota Boys and Girls Ranch as a social worker there. So I worked with a lot of adolescents, and then I also worked with a lot of their parents, and a lot of their parents were on probation at the time. So it was kind of working with the kids. It was, you make changes, but then they go back into the home setting, and it's kind of like a cycle. So I figured it's kind of starts with the parents. So I kind of wanted to work with the adult side. So that's why I jumped over to parole probation.
What's the most challenging aspect of this job?
For me, it probably was the law enforcement side, since I was always I was like a case manager. So the paperwork and working with the clients was easier. It was more just kind of learning the law enforcement side of it.
Okay. How has your past work experience helped shape you for this job?
I would say the majority of our job is kind of what I was doing before, working with people, like basically the social work aspect is us working with our clients, and so the majority of it, that I guess that's how it shaped me. And like I said, I just had to learn a few other things like the law enforcement side.
State your name and your level.
I'm Kayla Haugeberg. I'm a PO2.
Okay. Why are you in this field?
I did not want to be a patrol officer.
Okay.
I'm just being honest. I mean, I like the criminal justice field, but I knew I didn't want to be on patrol.
What's the most challenging aspect of this job?
The people I have to supervise that want to do nothing to change what's going on in their life.
How has your past work experience helped shape you for this job?
I worked at the jail for like 6 or 7 years, and so I met a lot of the people and a lot of families that I deal with here, and it just gave me a better understanding of the type of people that I deal with. I mean, I can tell when people are lying to me, and I was a little bit more naive before I started working at the jail, so I just think that really helped me to prepare for working with felons every day.
State your name and your level.
Franz Jean-Pierre, PO2.
Okay. Why are you in this field?
I got into this field specifically because Spelchen, ironically enough, kind of guided me towards an internship with parole and probation. And then after I graduated college, I went down to the state penitentiary, worked there for 3 years, and I've been with the Department of Corrections ever since.
What's the most challenging aspect of this job?
The people that you work with, both the officers that you work with and the individuals that you work with, either on your caseload or that are incarcerated, depending where you go, but definitely just the people that you work with.
How has your past work experience helped shape you for this job?
Well, for this one, to get into PNP, you have to have 3 years of work experience. So I worked at the state penitentiary for 3 years, which is still in the Department of Corrections. So I have a lot of experience working with individuals who have had pretty rough past and dealing with the whole element of corrections and rehabilitation.